Gerald and I were married almost 60 years, so I was 18 when we got married.
Stan, our father, was a great father, grandfather, great-grandfather.
Edward, we miss him terribly.
Ben is my husband. He's my best friend.
Kathy was our club secretary for the Lions Club.
My father, my mentor.
Jose, to me, was, I guess you could say, like Superman.
My mother, Edith Anderson, was funny. She was smart. She always had a comeback.
Abby was a joy. She was the light of our life. She was my only daughter.
Janelle was one of a kind. She was the yin to my yang.
Barbara Jean Sherman was our mom. She was very loving.
Delbert was my conscience, my sibling, my brother, my gentle giant.
I'd have to say he was probably my best friend. He was at every one of my kids' sporting events, all my sporting events.
He could talk. Boy, he could talk. He could tell good stories too.
Biggest Cubs fan you'll ever meet.
Not a lot of words.
The thing that struck me about Kathy is that she didn't want to be front and center.
She would defend you to the death on something she believed in. You needed something done. She was the first person her friends always called.
It's a dad thing. There was times where I was like down in the slums and he would always pick me up and make me see things in a different way.
Our favorite holiday was April Fool's Day, and when it got close to April Fool's, you couldn't turn your back on my mom for a minute because she'd get you with something.
Mom was opinionated. You did not want to be on the wrong side of her opinion unless you had a proof of your side there.
I learned a lot from him. My work ethic, my values, my morals.
It didn't matter if it was the black hole when one day after a football game, one of his former students was there and they were talking about physics and the black hole, and it was so over my head and so like deep. Or he could talk about anything. I mean, just a normal day.
Going to church together, he'd drop me off at church, and he'd drop me off at the door and go park, and didn't realize how much that meant to me till I had to start doing it myself.
You know, nobody really likes to take the notes and do all that, but she just stood up and she did all that for us.
Always quick with a kind word. Always made sure that when I showed up a little late to meetings that I made sure I grabbed a snack.
I wouldn't even have to say anything, and he knew what I was thinking.
You can imagine 5 boys trying to raise all of them, and then PTA, politics, Czech Museum. She enjoyed going to the casino. And even though she couldn't see, she could see the bright lights and hear all the dings and whistles going off.
He loved Burger King burgers. A Whopper is what he would tell you. Bring me back a Whopper, French fries, and a strawberry shake.
She's probably one of the best cooks, but maybe everybody says that about their mother.
She was dynamic in the kitchen. She came up with meals that we didn't even think about.
When I was vegetarian, I was just sitting in his living room and he said, "Oh, Hillary, I made you a whole ratatouille from scratch." And I just really always thought that was super cute. Very thoughtful when you weren't expecting anything.
I think he thought life was like a big, kind of like a big game. When he took things serious, it was serious for maybe those 5 minutes. And then after that, it was just all laughing and joking and kidding around.
You didn't have to pretend to be something different. You didn't have to say things to entertain him. To be in Delbert's presence was to be at peace.
Well, I miss him every day, but Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Those were his dialysis days.
Every day, the morning was the hardest for me.
First thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Because her picture's right there by the bed, so. I always say hello and then.
Sunday mornings, went to breakfast.
Yeah, we would go to breakfast on Sunday mornings, and so. You'd wait for her to call, "Where do you want to go to breakfast?"
I'd look at my watch and say, well, he should be coming home, you know. And there for a while.
The quiet of the house, just by myself.
And still can't believe she's gone.
I know he's not coming back. You know, he's here in my heart.
I think about her every time I go to the grocery store, because every time we would go to the grocery store, or she'd have to get the receipt just to make sure that you got charged for the right thing. Now they always ask, would you like a receipt? And it's like, oh my gosh, if I didn't take a receipt home, my mom would just roll over on me.
A gruff exterior, but a marshmallow heart. And as he got older, he let that show more and more. I was glad that he let that shine through.
Some people will probably hear me talking about Delbert and say, oh, he couldn't be that good. But he was.
He was the one person I could talk to about anything. Once you lose that, that's a big loss.
I was always the listener, and my daughter would say, Mom, now you know that Dad's gone. You're going to have to learn how to speak. You're going to have to speak for yourself now, because Dad always did all the talking.
I mostly missed I Love You Texas at night. I find myself looking for them and rereading them. I have a different value on them now.
I never dreamed when I took her in and dropped her off that was the last time I was going to see her. Didn't occur to me, because she was such a fighter.
If Dad knew we were doing this, I know exactly what he'd say. He would say, I'll be damned. That's exactly what he would say.
If I had one more moment with her, I would give her one more big hug.
I'd like to introduce him to my first grandchild, Easton.
Well, I'd wish her a happy birthday, because that's next week.
I would say, Delbert, I'm glad you're back. Let's go get us some shrimp.
I think I would tell him that, not to worry about anything, keep on going with your life, and you raised me fair enough to where I think I know what I need to do from now on.
I love you. I don't think I told him that enough.
Don't go. That's what I would say.
I would just let her know how appreciated she was and tell her that I wish I'd told her that more.
But he would be like, I'm okay, I'm all right.
We had our ups and downs, sickness and health. That's what we would always say on our vows, Richer and poor, we never gonna get rich. We already been poor, Sickness and health, we already been there. Death do us part.
All I'd want to say if I could be with her again was I love you. I miss you. And I hope you're happy with Dad in heaven.
Just tell him to go in peace. And you did it the right way. That's about all I can say.
I'll see him again one of these years,